From ancient times to the golden age of piracy and beyond, the vast and unforgiving expanse of the world's oceans has been a stage for extraordinary tales of human endeavor and maritime exploration. However, beneath the surface of these grand narratives lies a darker side, where peculiar and often bizarre punishments awaited those who sailed the high seas. These punishments, unique to the maritime world with specific laws and customs, transcended the ordinary notions of justice and ventured into surreal retribution. Join us as we delve into the murky waters of the past, uncovering the most peculiar and strange world of weird punishments at sea. Some of the things discussed in this video may be offensive or disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Scaphism. During ancient times in Iran, the punishment known as Scaphism emerged as an unparalleled display of cruelty and horror, haunting the imaginations of those who hear its tale. Scaphism derives its name from the Greek word scaphe, denoting hollowed-out boats or trunks. However, it was during the reign of King Artaxerxes II who ascended to the throne of the Achaemenid Empire from 404 BC to 358 BC as the son and successor of Darius II that the gruesome reality of Scaphism came to light. Soon after his rise to power, King Artaxerxes II faced a formidable challenge from his younger brother, Cyrus, who aimed to seize the throne by gathering troops from Lydian and Ionian satrapies and Greek mercenaries to wage war with him. Initially, King Artaxerxes II sought a peaceful resolution, hoping to avoid bloodshed. However, driven by unyielding ambition, Cyrus rejected his settlement. Eventually, in 401 BC, Cyrus rallied the 10,000, a formidable army, to confront his brother's army at Cunaxa near Babylon. The resulting battle was fierce and hard-fought, with Cyrus's troops winning. Still, amidst the chaos, a Persian soldier named Mithridates struck down Cyrus, abruptly ending the battle. Although saddened about his brother's death, King Artaxerxes II resolved to protect his reputation as a victorious conqueror of the battle. So, he approached Mithridates and implored him to keep the truth hidden, binding him with a solemn oath of secrecy. In a moment colored by ambition, Mithridates yielded to the king's plea. Thus, King Artaxerxes claimed the laurels of victory, while Mithridates, Cyrus's actual slayer, remained anonymous. However, fate had more surprises, and a dark cloud of destiny loomed over this clandestine agreement. One sad day, Mithridates, overcome with the effects of wine, cast aside all discretion. Oblivious to the sacred pact he had sworn to uphold, he shamelessly boasted of his military exploits, openly usurping the role of the victor in the battle that had claimed Cyrus's life. News of Mithridates' reckless claims swiftly spread throughout the kingdom, and when King Artaxerxes learned of this betrayal, an uncontrollable fury consumed him. According to the accounts of the Plutarch, King Artaxerxes pronounced a chilling sentence upon Mithridates: execution through boats, a punishment infamous as Scaphism. This gruesome method of torture was described in horrifying detail. Plutarch said, "The king decreed that Mithridates should be put to death in boats, which execution is after the following manner. 2 boats were specifically built to fit together perfectly. Mithridates was made to lie on his back in one of the boats. The other ship was placed on top, creating a small space where he was trapped. Only his head, hands, and feet were exposed. while the rest of his body was enclosed in this terrible contraption. While trapped in this horrifying situation, Mithridates was given food to eat. If he refused to eat, the people keeping him captive would poke his eyes as a cruel way to force him. They were relentless in their efforts to make him consume the food. They also subjected him to a painful experience by pouring milk and honey on his face, covering every part of it. With Mithridates' face facing the hot sun, it became a breeding ground for a multitude of flies. They covered his face, making it impossible to see. In this harsh environment, Mithridates, confined within the boats, had to go to the bathroom. The terrible smell from the filth attracted insects and rodents, which entered his body and feasted on his flesh. They removed the top boat only when it was clear that Mithridates was near death. What was seen inside was a horrifying sight. A destroyed body with its flesh eaten away, infested with disgusting creatures that had, in a way, merged with his insides. After enduring unimaginable suffering for 17 days, the condemned soldier Mithridates finally succumbed to his torment and took his last breath. Nevertheless, while Scaphism is commonly associated with ancient Persia, similar punishments have been documented in various cultures throughout history. Keelhauling. Another weird punishment on the sea that emerged in the 16th century was keelhauling, a harrowing ordeal inflicted upon those who had committed grave offenses. This severe penalty was a gruesome spectacle intended to maintain discipline and order in the 17th and 18th centuries maritime world. The historical accounts of keelhauling, however, are shrouded in uncertainty. While early written mentions of keelhauling can be found in English writings from the 17th century, such as Sir William Monson's The Navy Tracts, these sources need more clarity regarding its precise nature and frequency of use within the Royal Navy. Interestingly, the most concrete evidence of keelhauling as a sanctioned punishment comes from Dutch records. Notably, a painting titled The Keelhauling of the Ship's Surgeon of Admiral Jan van Ness by Lee Peterts, dating from 1660 to 1686, provides a visual representation of the punishment. This painting, housed in the esteemed halls of the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, depicts the severity of keelhauling as a terrible warning. This artwork portrays the condemned individual being dragged beneath the ship's keel, bound by a rope. The painting reveals a large assembly of onlookers gathered on boats, their attention fixed on the scene of Admiral Jan van Ness's torment. Each rowboat is filled with 10 to 20 people directed towards the artwork's left side. Following their line of sight reveals a haunting image, the faint figure of the surgeon suspended at the foremast, his hands and feet tightly bound. However, a Scottish poet, William Falconer, also portrays keelhauling as an extraordinary sentence executed with Dutch composure. The victims would experience moments of respite between enduring the ordeal repeatedly beneath the ship's bottom. The punishment became even more horrific during winter, as the victims faced the additional danger of freezing in the icy waters. And a mid-19th century French account also details a man being lashed before being subjected to keelhauling. The impact upon hitting the water caused severe internal injuries. The agonizing process involved being hauled under the keel, propelled by the forearm, and left suspended on the ship's opposite side, entangled in a rope. This torment was repeated multiple times at short intervals, further intensified by the firing of a gun. However, the British ceased using keelhauling around 1720, and the Dutch officially banned it as torture in 1750. Nevertheless, accounts as late as 1882, documented in Great Britain's House of Commons parliamentary papers, recount the keelhauling of 2 Egyptian sailors sentenced to endure this harsh punishment. Despite surviving, their suffering was immeasurable. Walking the plank. During the 1700s to the 1800s, another chilling maritime practice known as walking the plank instilled terror in the hearts of those at sea. This method, often associated with pirates and mutineers, served as a gruesome means of executing individuals deemed deserving of death during acts of rebellion. Although the origins of the phrase "walking the plank" remains uncertain, it gained notoriety through its inclusion in Francis Grose's Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue in 1788. It was a harrowing ordeal, combining physical and psychological torture, primarily associated with pirates. Victims, bound and blindfolded, were forced to step onto a narrow wooden plank extended over the ship's edge, teetering on the brink of a treacherous plunge into the depths below. In 1769, a mutineer named George Wood, held captive in London's Newgate prison, disclosed a bone-chilling secret to his chaplain. According to Wood, he and his fellow mutineers made their officers walk the plank. However, doubts persist regarding the authenticity of Wood's accounts and its direct connection to piracy. Nevertheless, the legend of John Durdrake, a notorious pirate of the late 1700s, reverberated through the Baltic region. It was said that Durdrake sentenced all his victims to a watery grave by forcing them to walk the plank, forever silencing their lives beneath the relentless waves. But while walking the plank was undoubtedly a horrible spectacle, another maritime punishment emerged as a standout horror of the era: running the gauntlet. Running the gauntlet. Running the gauntlet was a peculiar and torturous procedure that served as a stern warning to those sailors who dared to exhibit insubordination or rebellion. If you will, picture the hapless transgressor thrust into a corridor, flanked by 2 rows of their fellow crew members, armed with ropes, belts, or whatever improvised instruments could be mustered. These grim wardens awaited their unfortunate comrades' passage. As the condemned sailor gingerly navigated this harrowing gauntlet, a relentless onslaught of physical blows rained upon their defenseless body. The severe impact of fists, ropes, and other implements left deep welts and bruised flesh in their wake. The purpose of this savage spectacle, running the gauntlet, extended beyond the mere infliction of physical pain. It intended to humiliate and shame the transgressors openly. However, there are no known victims of this punishment. Flogging around the fleet. During the Age of Sail in the British Royal Navy, a haunting punishment known as flogging around the fleet emerged. This penalty involves subjecting a sailor to lashes aboard multiple ships within a formidable Navy squadron. The offender would be transported from ship to ship, enduring a predetermined number of brutal lashes from the terrifying cat-o'-nine tails, a whip with multiple knotted tails that struck fear into all who witnessed it. Descriptions of this punishment rarely made it into newspapers, but when it did, they invoked profound repulsion in public. An incident in Woolwich sheds light on the grotesque spectacle. 2 soldiers faced their punishment, one named Green and the other a young recruit named Davis. While Green bore his lashes with fortitude, Davis vehemently protested his innocence of desertion. In his anguish, he unleashed a chorus of screams and pleas, begging for mercy from Colonel Talbot, the medical officer, and all present, fearing for his life. When his back was revealed, it showed inflamed boils, bleeding profusely at every stroke. The ground beneath him turned crimson as the pain relentlessly tormented him. At one point, the lashes were momentarily withheld, and Davis took the opportunity to free himself from the ropes that bound him partially. However, the punishment resumed, and with each lash, his cries and pleas grew more desperate. The sickening spectacle overwhelmed officers and men, causing some to faint and some to be carried away. Even some seasoned servicemen averted their gaze to avoid the emotional strain and potential ridicule from their comrades. Which of these 5 punishments do you think is the most brutal? If you like our video, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And remember to hit that subscribe button. Until we come your way again next time with an insane story. Bye for now.